Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. Thank you for joining us on the program. Joining us once again on the show is Lynn Ahbonbon. She holds an MBA from the University of Southern California. She has been an executive, a writer, a business coach, and entrepreneur for more than 15 years. She's a passionate advocate for healthy, toxin-free food, and author of Why Americans Are Fat and Sick. That's a book we'll be talking about on the show today. Also author of other books, Food Made at Home, Things the Food Industry Does Not Tell You, Success Begins at Home, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Start and Succeed While Staying Fit and Healthy, and Worldly Home Cooking, Healthy and Delicious Recipes. Lynn's received numerous awards and recognitions from the federal and state governments as well as business associations for her work and achievements. Her website is very simple, ahbonbon.com. That's ahbonbon.com. Information available, and you can link on directly at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Lynn, welcome back to the program. It is great to have you with us.
Hello, Rick. How are you?
I am doing fine, thank you, and been watching my diet since we talked the last time on the program. And we're going to get into talking about the book, and this is really simple. It's easy to read. Everything is very straightforward. The book is called Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, The Key to Health and Fitness. Briefly, your backstory, and we talked about it the last time. Once you hit 40, you realized I'm working a lot of hours. I'm grabbing microwave food because I'm in a hurry. I'm going to the gym and working out, but I'm feeling bad, and I'm really not losing any weight. Talk about sort of the transformation you went through and the research you did to find out why you really weren't feeling well.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you still eating hamburger from fast food?
No, I actually stopped doing that, but I was slowing down. I was cutting back before I read your book, and it's like, okay, I really need to watch this. But yeah, before that, I was doing that.
Okay, my point today is it's okay to eat hamburger. It's okay to eat the real food that people like to eat, but just make sure that there's no toxins in it. If you make everything from home, from real lean ground beef, you can still eat hamburger once a week. It's okay. You see what I mean?
Yes.
It's people need to realize that the processed food or fast food that they're eating out there, they're not real food because they're full with fillers, toxins, trans fats, high fructose corn syrup, and all the kind of junks that they don't know about.
You talk about it in the book, Why Americans Are Fat and Sick. One of the chapters is what is in your food. As you're reading that, you're going like, wow, I didn't know that. And you just alluded to some of that. What is in our food? We're assuming because we buy it in a restaurant or we're buying it at a supermarket, this is reasonably healthy for us. We'd be very surprised to find out what actually is in the food.
Mm-hmm. And a surprising fact is that yesterday I went to my medical doctor and I told him about what I read in the news about food, and he didn't believe it. So even doctors are not trained in the medical profession to find out what's in the food. Our food supply today is not as high quality as it used to be that our grandparents used to have 30 years ago. For profit purposes, corporations had added filler, additives, and they process all kind of toxic materials that they don't tell you they put in the food. Now, professional or anyone alike, or even a normal average person like myself, would not know anything about the food that we eat unless we dig into the research. And that's why it's so important that we Americans need to know what's in our food. By eliminating all the toxins in the food, we can restore our body to the healthy state. And I only have been doing it for the past 3-4 years, and now my thyroid is back to normal. I am so happy that my doctor is taking me off my thyroid pills that I have been taking for the past 10-20 years. And it due to the fact that I have been eating a lot of microwavable food that has toxic ingredients in it that was slowly killing my thyroid. Do you see what I mean?
Exactly. And once you did the research, and the nice thing about the book, Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, Key to Health and Fitness, is you have already done that research for us. So all we need to do is pick up the book, go through, look, and it gives us a lot of answers to questions we didn't even know that we had until we started reading the book. Once you you decided, okay, this is really what I need to do because the toxins are actually killing me. They're very harmful to my body. When did you start seeing results? Because we all like to see results quickly.
To tell you honestly, I started seeing result within the 6 months of religiously watch what I'm doing.
Right.
It doesn't take long for our body to recover because if we keep feeding toxins to our body, of course, it's going to get sick and sooner or later it will give in because we're no longer young. If we were in our 20s, our body is still very strong, but when we start to turn 40 or over the hills, where we go, then our immune system is a lot weaker. And that's the reason why people start getting sick when they get to be 40. Long time ago, we will be 60 or 70s, but I have my neighbor who, when he turned 40, his total organ system, his organ just fell. And he had all kind of surgeries and he was bloated, inflated, and it's from eating fast food or not watching what he's eating. So I told him, I said, from now on, you only eat what you know that is in the food. And the best thing to do is to cook from home and go through my book and see what are the toxins so we can watch for them. And then we're fine. It doesn't take a lot of work to restore our body to its normal state. Of course, if we have damaged our body for so long, then it might take longer.
Yes.
But I believe that food is fuel for your body. If you feed your body with good food and plenty of powerful antioxidants, you can actually restore or minimize the damage of the body.
You're listening to This Week in America. Our website is thisweekinamerica.us. Information there on our guest on today's program, Lynn Ahbonbon, back with us on the show. Her website is ahbonbon.com. That's ahbonbon.com. By logging on to thisweekinamerica.us, you can link on directly to Lynn's website. The book we're talking about is Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, Key to Health and Fitness. In talking about some of the toxins that you address in the book, and you talk about, and this is something that's very controversial, we hear about it in the news, genetically modified organisms. Exactly what is that, and how do we know that it's there? You say basically 70% of the food we come across in the supermarket contains GMOs.
I can tell you a few of them that mostly genetically modified. They're corns, soy, and cotton. So, and a few other foods. But the reason it's so bad for us because some of them are injected with pesticide gene to fight their own pests that eat them. So when we eat them, we actually eat pesticide because the plant is producing pesticide to kill pests that eat them. You see what I mean? So
unfortunately, yes, I understand that completely. That's a little scary.
And soy, that's why when I go and buy soybeans, I only get non-GMO organic soybean. And soybeans are not that expensive nowadays. It might cost, the organic soybean might cost maybe 20 more cents than the regular soy. So for 20 more cents, it's worth it. So that's one of the examples. And if a study have found that GMO has caused allergy, and wheat is one of them also, genetically modified. The wheat, that's why a lot of people are allergic to wheat, and I know why, because it's mostly GMO. So that's a reason why we have to stay away from that, because our body is not made to digest chemicals, period. If we only eat natural food that God provided to us, like the old times, then we will not get as sick as we are today. Today, Americans are a lot sicker than they used to be 30 years ago. We come up with all kind of chronic allergies. Like myself, 10 years ago, I would go to the movie theater, and if I smell popcorn, guess what? I cough. That's not normal for someone
Right.
that young. And because I was so allergic to anything I was eating, and the reason I was allergic to them because I was eating plenty of processed food that I didn't even know that it was bad for me. Because when I bought the processed food, it said healthy, healthy dinner, chicken dinner under 350 calories. And I was so busy. I was an executive at a big corporation. I did not have any time. And at one time, I was going to school at night to have my MBA. So it's like having two full-time jobs. Where did I have time to cook? So I began eating a lot of microwavable food that were so-called healthy, and they caused my body to be really sick. And that same year, my thyroid fell. My thyroid just stopped functioning.
Well, in the book is called Why Americans Are Fat and Sick. It's available at Amazon, available all across the country. Information at Lynn's website, ahbonbon.com. Link onto that at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. In talking about that, in the chapter I'd like to mention, because at work is where we all get into a lot of problems. And the chapter is Eat at Work Trans Fat. But you also there talk about misleading ads, and you say something that's interesting. So many of us look, and if we see healthy, we're assuming that meets some government criteria to be able to say healthy. And as I'm reading in the book, you can basically, there are many misleading ads out there, and there really aren't a lot of definitions, government definitions that these companies have to adhere to.
Well, let me tell you something. Whatever the FDA say is safe to eat, maybe is per tiny little portion only. And if that person only eat one kind of toxin a day.
Okay.
But in reality, if we eat many kinds of toxins the same day, 350 days a year, eventually we will consume a lot more than what the government calls is safe. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So
And
I think that's the cause.
when you look at portion size, you're often shocked when you pick up something and you think, okay, this is basically, I'm going to get a couple of meals or snacks out of this. And you find out they're like 12 serving size in the bag. When you look at that, and Lynn really emphasizes it's all about decisions and label reading. If you learn nothing else, it's read the labels. At work, we've got a lot of obstacles there, including vending machines. Is there anything good you can buy in a vending machine?
No.
I was going to say, with the laughter said it all. I really didn't need much of a verbal response at that point.
And I tell you the reason why. If the food is made to be stored in the vending machine for a long time, they have to use chemicals, preservative, and trans fat to keep them longer on the shelf. That's as pure simple as is. And we don't have to get food from the vending machine. For example, you can go to the store, health food store, and get unsalted roasted nuts. They're very good for you. As long as there's only nuts there, there's no other chemicals, preservative, then nuts doesn't take long to, I mean, it's so nutritious for the body that people should be eating all the time, and that will be a healthy kind of food instead of the vending machine. So that's one of my suggestions. Now, there's one very important point that I like to emphasize, because we did not mention too much about last time when I promised people to talk about high fructose corn syrup. Do you know that when they did the test on the 55 major brands in the supermarket, 1/3 of food that contain high fructose corn syrup as number 1 or 2 ingredients actually have traces of mercury? Why? Because some manufacturers are still using the outdated technology they call mercury cell technology. And in order to convert corn kernels into high fructose corn syrup, that's the technology they're using. They're using mercury. So
Wow.
mercury
And they're
is
allowed
found
to
in
do
those
that?
food.
There are no government
Yes,
regulations that prohibit
of
that?
course. That's why they're doing it.
Wow.
And guess what? My favorite ketchup brand that I don't even want to mention the name, but people know who they are, has high fructose corn syrup. And that's a ketchup that I grew up on when I was little kid, and I still eat them until today. And I love ketchup. I put ketchup everywhere. And I did not realize that by consuming that, I also consume mercury. And just think about how much ketchup that your kids can be eating a day. Because ketchup is kids' favorite food, really.
Yes. Besides at home, at school, it's all over the place for kids. Our guest on the program, Lynn Ahbonbon, The book is called Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, Key to Health and Fitness. As is always the case, time is going by really quickly here. But let's talk about when you read the labels, what are some of the things that you should watch for? You mentioned the fructose corn syrup and trans fats, which we talked about the last time. Those are really what warning signs when you see that, especially prominently displayed on the label.
Okay, when you read the label, first, don't read the label percentage. Go down to the fine print when they see the list of ingredients. That's where you should be reading. If you see something like hydrogenated oil, partially hydrogenated oil, or vegetable shortening, forget it. That's trans fat. If you see high fructose corn syrup, forget it. Don't buy it. If you see a list of additives that you don't even know what it means, don't eat it. Just like I cannot believe I went to the supermarket and I bought a local bread that was made there at the supermarket. And when I flip over, I saw a list of ingredients that is 20 items long. And it has all these things that I could not even understand. Maybe the pharmacist will understand, but as a normal person. So if you see something like that, please do yourself a favor. Don't eat it. Because all they do is they're going to cause inflammation in your body. They're going to cause cancer. There's so much toxin in your body. And that's why your body chemicals and metabolism react. And that's why people are fat and sick. They're fat and sick because they're consuming toxins that are not meant for them. And they stay in their body. They cause their organs not to function properly. They cause them bloating, and they make them sick and fat. And there are a lot more in the book that cause obesity. You read the book and you know what they are, but due to timing, I don't think I have more time to go over the list of toxins that cause people fat.
There are many, and that's what's alarming when you're reading that. And the book is called Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, Key to Health and Fitness. It's very easy to read. Lynn talked about doing the necessary research. She's done that for us. The book's available at her website, ahbonbon.com. That's ahbonbon.com. Available at Amazon. You go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. In a minute or so left in the program, if people are listening and going, wow, what can I eat? You've got a chapter called Healthy Cookies, and you're saying there really are alternatives. And talk about the cookie that you make, because it really sounds good, and it's not going to take years off your life.
Well, my theory is if you only put good and healthy ingredients in the cookies, then it becomes superfood. That's all people need to understand. So when they say, oh, I don't want to bake cookies because they make me fat, is wrong. The reason that the regular cookies make them fat because there's so much sugar in it. There's what I call empty carbohydrate, which make people crave for more food. So if you eat whole grains and seeds like flax seeds and nuts and you put good oil in there and a little sugar, and you can get the sugar from raisins instead of refined sugar, then your body will appreciate the cookies that you eat. And besides, you cannot eat that many of them because they make you so full and fulfilling, and it's like after one cookie, it's like heaven. So you don't need to eat like 2 dozen more to get satisfaction.
No, and it sounds good, and the book will give you some great examples of what you can eat, what you need to stay away from. Not all fats are created equal. You'll find that out in the book. Once again, the book is called Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, Key to Health and Fitness, one of the many books written by our guest on the program, Lynn Ahbonbon. We will have Lynn back on the program. Many more things to talk about. Worldly home cooking, healthy and delicious recipes. We will do a program on that because that's going to be really important for people. But this really is a life-changing book. Again, available at our website, ahbonbon.com. Available at Amazon. Information at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Lynn, thank you for being back on the program. It's great to have you with us, and look forward to having you back again.
Thank you, Rick. A pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. The book again,
Bye-bye.
Why Americans Are Fat and Sick, the Key to Health and Fitness. You're listening to This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us.